I talk about budgeting with some of the people here in our community, and they know the importance of being able to assess just how far they can stretch it. I would expect that the government has some officials who work on that, but you would be surprised to know that Social Security, veteran benefits, and even Postal Service health benefits are in danger since the government has been dipping into some of these funds to pay for federal debt. Did you know that? Yeah. Comment what you think about that right now. Is this helping our country? Are they looking out for the American people? Is it beneficial for those who are on Social Security, SSI, and SSDI? Also, they have a solution in mind so that they can stop doing this. But the question is, what is that solution? The devil's in the details, they always say. Collect more on tax revenues. Now, I'm not making this stuff up, guys. I am as confused as you are. And I check what's happening in Washington, D.C. every single day. It's still confusing. But before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. This message absolutely needs to get out to the people. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to Social Security, the U.S. economy, the stock market, the housing market, and everything that affects your lives, your families, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. By the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. The link is in the video description down below. Now, one of the dollar's strengths is that it's being used globally for trade. And it's also one of the reasons why the actions of Saudi Arabia is getting a lot of us worried. Have you heard about this? Okay, so China has pushed that Saudi Arabia should price oil sales in their currency, the yuan. Check this out, guys. Now, according to the finance minister of Saudi, this is what they are saying. Quote, there are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade arrangements, whether it's in the US dollar, whether it's in the euro, whether it's the Saudi rival, end quote. Now, if you must know, oil sales around the world is priced in US dollars, and that Saudi Arabia relies on the US military for protection. Now, although with them noting that they have a strategic relationship with China, it may indicate that they intend to switch over to China for this need. Now, speaking of needs, we need to get things in order in our country as we just hit the debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion.
President Biden is calling on Congress to raise the debt ceiling to prevent the U.S. defaulting and causing all kinds of economic chaos.
But South Florida Republicans are demanding steep spending cuts before they will even sit down at the table. Our D.C. Bureau Chief Ben Kennedy live at the White House now with the latest on the debt ceiling showdown. Ben.
Well, Calvin, Nicole, this is a critical time here in Washington, D.C. as the White House wants Congress to get to work so the nation can pay its bills. The country could go into default for the first time in history if Congress does not take action to raise the debt ceiling, which hit $31.4 trillion Thursday, as the White House calls on Congress to do their job.
It is essential for Congress to recognize that dealing with the debt ceiling is their constitutional responsibility.
President Biden said he will not negotiate with Republican leaders who insist on massive spending cuts before they help raise the debt ceiling. Florida Senator Rick Scott tweeted, "We can't keep rubber stamping reckless spending. I'm fighting every day to stop it." The debt limit is the total amount of money the U.S. government can legally borrow. Raising the limit does not mean more spending, but allows the government to pay its existing debts.
Now, it really puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? On the one hand, we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine and other countries. On the other hand, we can't even save enough money so that we don't hit the debt ceiling, and then they have to remove it so that they can borrow more. Wow. It's not like Social Security, SSI, and SSDI are in danger of being insolvent in a couple of years. It's not like SNAP benefits couldn't use a boost. And it's not like Americans are having the time of their lives facing inflation costs, right? And here's the real kicker for the entire circus that we're seeing right now in Congress. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has just admitted to the American public that they are going out of their way to push for extraordinary measures just to avoid default. Now, you might ask, what kind of extraordinary measures are they talking about, and just how bad is it going to get? What if I told you that they're willing and did dip into American retirement funds just so that they can pay for federal debt? What funds were affected? The Civil Service Retirement and Disability Fund and the Postal Service Retiree Health Benefits Fund. The government is running out of options that they would rather take money from civil servants, postal workers, and disabled Americans. Can you believe this? Now, I don't want to alarm you guys. I'm not fear-mongering, but other funding may also be affected if they don't figure this funding situation out. Social Security, military, veteran benefits, these can all be hit. Although I don't see that payments and checks are going to be stopped right now, but this could be a way for them to force Republicans to abide by their will and eagerness to remove that debt limit. While those who are now actively receiving these benefits, they shouldn't have to worry about things right now, I'm not so sure that younger generations are going to escape unscathed. It could be best to think of a future without Social Security, unless, of course, course, the government reverses course and fixes the solvency issue. Although this is easier said than done, since the White House said, get this, they said that they're refusing to negotiate with U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the GOP regarding fiscally responsible spending. It's kind of like they want to pin the bankruptcy of our country on the Republicans. Add to that, the White House intends to do this if the GOP doesn't play ball. So instead of decreasing how much they spend our taxpayer money, they're now focused on collecting more on tax revenue via the IRS. Wait a second, this doesn't even add up. They're collecting taxes from us, and now they want more in tax revenue? Doesn't sound like a good plan for the working American. But you guys tell me, since most of us are struggling to catch up with credit card payments, inflation's still a pain in the rear, our cash flow hasn't felt the same in years, and the fear of layoffs continues to linger each and every single day, is this the brilliant solution to their debt problem? On his end, though, U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has now canceled proxy voting. According to him, quote, "No more proxy voting, effective immediately. Members of Congress have to show up to work if they want their vote to count." End quote. I guess if members of Congress want to get paid with taxpayer money, they're going to have to show up for their jobs and actually work, since it is their job. I mean, I would love to make money without even going to work, but that's just not fair, is it? Well, Congress has been doing it for years now. I know someone who's been logging in extra hours. Al Gore is once again ringing the bell on climate change. The former congressman says that 88% of the projected increase in emissions will come from the developing world, while warning us about rain bombs and boiling oceans. I guess this would be a good time to think about green renewable energy, right? It's also one of the many opportunities that Al Gore has used to further his agenda, while his green investment firm pays him about $2 million a month. The company is now worth about $36 billion. That is a lot of green energy money. Wonder how that worked out for him. Now here's a question. Is Gore truly concerned for the world, or are his warnings self-serving and mostly biased to enrich himself and his company? You gotta think though that helping the world isn't about the money, but about the well-being of the future. A future in jail may be waiting for Alec Baldwin, as he's now been charged with involuntary manslaughter after a fatal shooting happened at the set of one of his movies. He and the film's armorer have been accused of failing to perform essential firearm safety duties that could have prevented this accident. Alec Baldwin faces up to 5 years in jail. Now moving on, Vladimir Zelensky, he's written a letter to Chinese President Xi Jinping in hopes of asking for funds to restore Ukraine, as well as the use of influence that they have over Putin to hopefully end this war. The letter was handed over to a Chinese delegation while Zelensky's wife was in Davos for the World Economic Forum's meeting in 2023. Do you guys think that Xi Jinping will actually help end this war? And what do you think about Zelensky's wife attending the meeting in Davos for the World Economic Forum? I'd love to hear from you guys on that one. Now, something that seems to not have an end is our struggles. And this is why I try to present helpful information to you guys and informative information in our daily videos. Now, if you're in a financial pinch, it is best that we discuss solutions. There's the creation of multiple streams of income through side hustles and small businesses. We can also talk about investments in the stock market or even real estate. Perhaps you'd like to learn how to budget and stretch that dollar even further. Well, if you are, my lines are wide open. Feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. There's a link in the description down below. But before I go, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next one.